Delta 715 information alpha ready for taxi.
Delta 715, apron your discretion. Delta cross 23, Delta hold short 32.
Apron our discretion, Delta cross 23, and then hold short of 32 on Delta, Delta 715. Alright, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We actually were spawned on by an unknown aircraft, so that's kind of what you're seeing there.
Delta 715, I can let you go out at Mike if that's a better length for you, or do you want full length?
Mike would be perfect for us. Thank you, 715.
715, amendment to taxi Delta left on Mike, hold short 32.
715. So today we're simulating a completely fictitious flight. Today we're in an air freighter, C-47
Window 77 over to center.
Delta air freighter, and flying from Halifax down to Boston.
No 77.
There's the plane that spawned on top of us there. But just a good excuse really to get in the C-47 and fly. It's been a little bit since we've done that. I'll show you the routing that they, the routing that they gave us when in Canada. Speak like the Canadians, right? Yeah, we'll show you the route that we've been given. It's a pretty straight shot, basically almost directly southeast the entire time. And again, we're flying just VOR equipment only. It'll be 7,000 feet. We are Delta 715 in case you're trying to pick us up on any of your BATSIM tracking software pieces. We like to use BATtastic ourselves, but there's lots of them out there, I know. But you'll see us as Delta 715, and welcome aboard. Happy Monday. A little bit windy on the ground here, not terrible, but 320 at 8 knots, and it's enough to make this plane even trickier to taxi, which is why intersection Mike is going to be nice for us, because that's just a little bit less we have to worry about getting blown around, and it doesn't take this this plane a whole lot to get airborne. Now this is actually, even though it says Bravo, this is Mike on the taxi chart.
November 101 Romeo Alpha over to center now 1322.
We have quite obviously the default scenery, and so we just are kind of cross-referencing with the Navigraph charts to make sure we're in the right spot. We've got just a little bit more checklist to take care of. One thing we did not do, we should have put the landing lights on for the taxi, and boost pumps need to also come back on. Come up here to the hold short point, and we'll finish off our checklist, and I think we'll be ready to go wheels up. Alright, before taxi, yeah, well, we had the fuel pumps off before taxi, so that was actually correct. Before takeoff, we've got our mixture set, auto rich. We've got our props, prop lever high RPM. Nudge our trim wheel back a little bit, about 0.1.
Delta 715, 3508, clear takeoff runway 32.
Clear for takeoff, runway 32, Delta 715. Cowl flaps, put those to trail or close as we can get. We can't quite get them to trail, but pretty close anyway. Landing lights we put on. Pitot heat we don't need just yet. Fuel pumps on. We'll lock the tail wheel once we get lined up, and we'll be ready to go. Flying the Halifax 4 departure, which is essentially runway heading, and climb to 4,000. I'm sure we'll be vectored well before we get to 4,000. Alright, final is clear.
Halifax,
Runway is clear.
Kilo Golf November 715 with information Alpha turns to Moncton.
Kilo Golf November 715. Good evening, sir. Clear to the Moncton Airport. Via flight plan route.
That's fairly well lined up, I think.
Squawk 4341.
Lock the tail wheel. Set flaps a quarter.
So we're leaving Moncton Airport.
We will be,
departure,
upon departure, at some point in time, we'll be turning left on course, and we're kind of an outbound 259er, so I'm thinking that what we need is probably something more around, oh, maybe, and we'll just kind of estimate about 240 there. Okay, I think we're ready to go.
WestJet 275, contact center now 1322.
We're at 132, this one. Thank you, WestJet 275.
And we are airborne. That's a positive rate. Gear will come up. Try to keep the climb out at about 100. There's a good 400 feet. End of the runway. Flaps will come up. Nice and stable, and let's bring the power back to climb power. Delta 715 passing 1,600.
Delta 715, squawk 1
I don't think I had my mode C selected here. I have it here.
Delta 715, radar identified for 1800 on departures. Continue climb 7,000, left turn on course.
Continue up to 7,000 and left turn on course, Delta 715. Alright, good deal. 7,000 is set. 240 is set. I think we'll go ahead and we will engage our autopilot. We're getting into the soupy soup. So we'll go ahead and let heading mode take over and try to continue. Our V speed was set to 200. We don't need to be quite that low. Making pretty good power here, and airspeed looks good. Our inbound VOR, which is a ways out there, not too bad, is Yarmouth. Our outbound VOR we're already picking up here, and that is actually Halifax, and so we will, like I say, try to come around here at 240. See if we can pick up the outbound until Yarmouth becomes active, and if Yarmouth doesn't work, it's kind of fun. We've got an NDB that we can track, but yeah, let's see. Those all are looking good. Fuel pressure is a little high right there. wonder why. Interesting. So we have Halifax set in our nav 2, which is tracking right there, and as you can see, we're a little right of course still on the outbound. Hopefully that'll center up here pretty soon and we can track that. Here is what I say, Yarmouth 13.3, and that will be indicated up here. And then again we have an NDB, and that should come alive right here. So between the three, we should be able to get halfway close. But I have a special surprise for you guys that I will show you here in just a minute. I feel pretty good about everything here. I think we might go ahead and let's spin the cowls open again just to make sure we don't. Actually, no, we're going to keep that at trail. And because all of this looks pretty good, all these temps look very good. We do have some precip. We'll keep an eyeball on the temperature outside. Right now 69 when we departed, so I think we're going to be okay. Only climbing to 7,000 today. Alright, well, let's take a look and see what we have. And as far as routing goes, as they say, like I said, it's pretty straight shot. We're going to head down here. This is Yarmouth VOR. Then along the way we'll have a little check-in point, Baxi, and then before we get into Boston, we'll check Canal, and then we'll pick up the approach into Boston. Really hoping that we get some Boston ATC. Generally speaking, on Monday night you do have that. This is Moncton Monday, and those two airspaces usually work pretty well together. Right now, nothing just yet, but we've got, this is for us a 2.5 hour flight, so we've got plenty of time to kind of get where we're going. And that's kind of what things look like right now. It looks like most of the Canadian action is kind of heading up into Goose Bay area. Yep, Goose Bay is one of the. Gander is another airport that's part of the Moncton Monday. St. John's, yeah, it would have been, maybe you should have flown up that way. That's okay. Montreal, nope, not Montreal. Fredericton, Moncton, of course. But so all kinds of airports up here to check out and discover if you are so inclined. I do see that we have a DME, and it looks like we might be about halfway tracking something here. Yep. So let's go ahead and engage the nav lock, and let's see if we get ourselves on course, and then I can share with you the special surprise.
Halifax coach, Gulf number 715 with information Alpha, rate taxi, runway 32.
Charles November 715.
Yeah, that looks like it's going to work well.
Discretion, Delta, cross 23, Delta, hold short 32. Intersection departure from Mike is available if you want.
So we're taxiing Delta, crossing 23, Delta, hold short 32, and I will take the Mike intersection departure as well, if that's okay.
715, not a problem. Just make that left on Mike and hold short 32.
Roger that, and I'll contact you for takeoff for November 715.
All right, well, we're 5,500, so 1,500 to go, and things are looking very good so far.
Halifax Terminal, Canadian Express 621, good evening. Would like to request IFR clear to Montreal to filed with Alpha.
We'll sit back.
Express 621, good evening, sir. Clear to Montreal Trudeau by flight plan route by the Halifax Port departure. Squawk 4354.
Enjoy the ATC chatter and have some scenic looks around before we get swallowed up by the weather.
And we'll clock 4354 for Express 621. Express 621, read back direct, put your discretion, call me for the taxi. Expect runway 32 for departures. We'll advise and ready for taxi, expecting 32 for departure 621. Thanks.
And 500 to go on course, closing in 109 nautical miles until we hit our first VOR. And then after that, it's a little bit of open ocean, a little bit of North Atlantic. Straight shot down to Boston, which much appreciated, honestly, because with our airspeed, you know, we'll be pushing 140, maybe 150. The shorter, the better for us. And winds right now really aren't an issue. We're going to be seeing winds 329 at 2-1, so. You know, maybe slightly off our nose, but more of a crosswind today. And so that's really also not too bad. You know, a lot of times you can get that wind right on your nose, and yeah, this thing it crawls. It's you could almost walk across the Canadian plains here faster than you can fly, but tonight it's not going to be an issue. We'll be able to get there, like I say, just about 2 hours. I think 2 hours and 48 minutes is the official. 2 hours and 41 minutes is the official estimated time. Now that we are at cruise, let's go ahead and work through our cruise checklist. We'll turn the fuel pump, the landing lights off, and we'll bring our mixtures down to auto lean. Pull the prop lever and throttles back just a little bit. Kind of 32 and 22 is pretty good for us, and we can close the cowls. We'll keep an eyeball on everything here. I do see that our fuel pressure has dropped back down to where it should be, so not sure what was going on there. But things look good now, so we'll take it.
1,100 climbing USA.
November 715 radar identified on departures out of 12. We'll continue your climb 8,000 on course.
Continue on course and 8,000 November 715.
This is the Manfred Jan Visser. Sometimes Aeroworks is also the maker that you get associated with this DC3/C-47. It is completely free, and the most recent version of it has an updated sound pack, and it's, as you can hear, tremendous. Gives you all the cockpit clicks and squeaks and things like that, and it just gives you just an amazing rumble. Those big old rotary engines. Of course, we're flying P3D, and but it has the same basic aircraft is available on X-Plane. And that's the AeroWorks version, if I'm not mistaken. And so you can check it out. Like I say, completely free and a ton of fun to fly. I would say probably fits in that not really. It's not just jump out of the box and fly it, but it's not study level kind of. I don't know what you'd call it, study light maybe. Yeah, most everything is simulated, but there are a few systems that are not. One of the systems that's simulated but not really is the autopilot, as you see. I mean, the autopilot switch is actually down here, and then a lot of this stuff on the main panel is what controls, you know, your heading and your altitude and all that good stuff. And that's what's not really. The panels are in op, but a Shift F4 gives you basically a master control of everything, you know, from just monitoring all of your different systems to you know, seeing what everything is set at, you know, throttle, prop, mixture, your, you know, just everything essentially. Your cowls you can set over here as well. And then this panel here is really kind of your autopilot controls. So you can set your altitude, your heading, your V-speed, switch between nav and GPS. And yeah, you can load in a regular flight plan from the P3D flight planner and fly this thing as slant golf if you'd like to. But we kind of like to keep it a little more basic and just worry about the VORs and things like that. So we keep it on nav pretty much the whole time. And then of course you can control your comm frequencies as well. The comm and the nav, as you saw, those are all operational down here on the panel itself. And then all this stuff, of course, in front of you as the captain's view. That all works. So again, like I said, it's not something that you just turn on and press Control E and you're flying, because there are some things, there's some failures that you can have if you don't manage the engines correctly, and these engines here definitely have their own sort of I guess procedure that you need to follow, and some things you need to keep track of, or they'll shut down on you and shut down mid-flight sometimes. And so yeah, you don't want to do that if you can help it, obviously. But yeah, it's just try to get in it, you know, on a weekly basis. And we flew actually we flew across the pond with it back end of May and into June, as we were replicating the 75th anniversary of the D-Day landings, and we flew the Blue Spruce route and went across into France.
715, call Moncton now on 1322.
Over to Moncton, 132.2, Delta 715. Have a great night. So yeah, we've done some long hauls in this, but mostly this is the type of stuff that we enjoy doing. It's just kind of your oh gosh, and I just changed the nav instead of the comm, and that's not what you want to do. 3220.
Alpha Charlie, Kilo Tango.
Make sure that I've got the right frequency. 13.3.
Charlie, Kilo Tango.
Alright, hold on. 13.3. There we go.
We'd like to do a
Whoa.
visual approach runway 03,
Not
Charlton with
good.
touch and ground. Charlie, Kilo Tango, okay, what am I going to do? 4 trunk down, just monitor 122 distant late. And advise your intentions. If you are going to be en route back to Moncton, just call me back. Yeah, we will return to Moncton. We'll go over to 2.8, advise our intention now, and we'll get back to you when we're climbing out of Charlestown. Alpha Charlie, Kilo Tango.
Moncton Center, good evening, Delta 715. Just about stepped on somebody.
715, Moncton. Good evening, sir. And welcome aboard to BS5.
Continue as filed, 715. Yeah, I didn't have a chance really to do a proper check in there, but that's okay.
Moncton Center. Airport 175. 275 Lima airspace to the west. Moncton, Boston is not on line. Monitor 122 this morning. After the site, so we're to Toronto PM. 122.8, and thank you. Have a good night. Rustic 5. There's Charlie Foxtrot uniform. We are downwind, ready to turn base. Runway 29 is going to be a touch and go. Foxtrot uniform, Whiskey Lima. The wind's currently calm. Moncton clear. Touch and go. Runway 29. Alright, clear, touch and go, 29 Charlie Foxtrot uniform with Whiskey Lima. And Moncton Center, can you express victim representing taxi, runway 13. Express 674. Okay, I got Winds currently in Gander 140 at 8, altimeter 2975. You could taxi apron to discretion bubble short when we want to go. Altimeter 2975 and I can taxi apron discretion, then Bravo or 1 speed express.
Just a bit of turbulence here. Not sure where that's come from, but there are a few storms in the area, as always. Active sky not showing anything right on top of us at the moment, but certainly some things surrounding. And the one thing about
November 101 Romeo Alpha, Moncton Center.
One thing about this particular plane is you're not going to outclimb these storms, so you have to kind of go around it.
You are Lima Airspace to the west, sir. Boston's not online. Monitor 1528. So long. See you, sir. Switching over to Unicom. Thank you very much for your help tonight. Have a great night. Romeo Alpha.
Kind of had slid off our VOR here a little bit when I bumped off the nav frequency there, so yeah, we're going to have to make a little bit of a correction. I did notice till just right now, and that thing had slid well to the north, so we'll head back around. We'll get back on where we're supposed to be here, and yeah, we were heading to Montreal.
Montreal Uniform Whiskey Lima, winds currently have changed to Moncton 3207, current line 29. Little and 29, Charlie Foxtrot Uniform Whiskey Lima. Moncton Center, evening, this is Kilo Golf November 715 with you at 8,000. Golf Kilo November. Moncton Center, good evening. Yeah, your Moncton Center is going to be 2984. Expect visual 29 in Moncton. Expecting visual 29 in Moncton for November 715. And Moncton Center, the Express 74, fully short run 13, be ready for takeoff. Okay, so 674, winds and Gander currently showing 140 cleared for takeoff when we went through. Let's take off run 13, the Express 674.
yeah, kind of being quiet here, just enjoying the ATC and getting bumped around. But I'm also working on some dinner, and don't really want to share the sounds of me crunching on these chips. So and we'll just keep hanging out. And like I said, I've got an old friend to show you here in a little bit. So enjoy the sights and sounds.
Flashcard, uniform whiskey. Okay, you can taxi Bravo to the evening discretion, sir. And thanks for flying Moncton. We'll see you again.
Do you want to say hello to Nick's Aviation?
Thank you very much,
Checking in. Yeah, we've got we dusted off the old C-47, and I'm with you. I love this livery.
Welcome back, sir. Welcome back.
These old classic airline liveries and freight cargo liveries are amazing. Hope things are great in your world, Nick's. Thanks for checking in, man. We'll be back in a couple more bites of my sandwich.
London 674, whiskey, 3,100. Express 674, radar identified on departure, sir. Altitude checks. You can continue to direct the jockey on course up to flight level 370. The jockey on course and up to flight level 370.
And Nick's asking about tips for streaming, and he's going to get his going here soon, which is awesome. Can't wait. And I certainly don't know a ton, but I can tell you I do like the Streamlabs version of OBS. It's a free tool, and it's got some pretty neat features. Very easy to set up, and I haven't noticed. I mean, every time you stream, you lose a little bit of FPS, but it doesn't seem like it's that big of a hit. It also, I found, works very, very well with Twitch and YouTube, and so you can bounce back and forth. I kind of like to stream to Twitch and then export into YouTube. It's almost like you're archiving your stream. But no, I mean, I just would say have fun. The way I look at it, I'm flying anyway. I might as well record some things and learn from things. And what's really awesome is having guys check in that know more about flight, and they give you tips. They kind of act sort of as CFIs a little bit, and I've had a lot of guys that have really helped out and pointed out some things that I could be doing differently, more to make things just again more realistic, more authentic, and which of course that just makes the entire process that much more enjoyable. So yeah, find what you like to fly, and just push record, man, and just start having fun. I'll be anxious to check that out. I've got you, I'm a follower of your channel, and so I'll get a little notification when things go live, and love to check it out.
7242 Halifax, see the Sydney 5 departure, your flight plan route. Your squawk is 3115, 3115.
Sure, go over to the Halifax Sydney 5 departure, flight plan route, squawk 3115,
Yeah, and just remember the beauty part of Twitch is you don't have to save it. You can always delete it if you don't like it. And unless somebody makes a clip of something, it's gone into the vast expanse of cyberspace, and no one will ever know. You can go back and look at some of my streams, and you can see all kinds of mess ups, which I usually save unless I have some kind of a glitch where like something's not working on the sim, you know, like it freezes or something like that, I mean, I'll keep it. I've kept some of the worst landings I've ever done. I've kept major screw-ups, and it's fun to go back and look through those and just see what you did and learn from it. And a lot of times I mean, it just makes you chuckle because for the most part, the guys that you're working with, the ATC, they're enjoying it too. And you know, it's, I don't know, it's just a fun environment. Lots of fun to mess around with different aircraft and yeah. So let me know when you get it fired up. Let me know what you're thinking about. You know, if you're looking for an initial flight to do, we're gonna hopefully be back up in the air on Saturday, and they've got the VAT Venture, which is the Oshkosh fly-in, and so there's, if you go to VATUSA.net, you can get information about that, and that should be pretty fun. I mean, if you think about it, that'd be a heck of a first stream to you know, to fly. I mean, it doesn't get much more aviation than flying into Oshkosh, but yeah, otherwise if it works out, you see us online. I try to post on the flight schedule what we do, and next week will be a little bit light, but after that, for the most part, you know, we're on pretty much every evening around midnight Zulu, and yeah, I'd love to have some company. Hey, Wolfpack Gamer checking in. You're doing double duty here, Wolfpack. I know you're over over watching Rob at Slant Alpha Adventures, and we're doing the same thing. He's our in-flight entertainment. We've got a little bit of a long haul for us. It's close to 3 hours, so we're watching him do his thing there in Wisconsin, and chit-chatting with you guys as well. Thanks for stopping by, man. Hope all is well in your world. Wolfpack Gamer's got himself pretty cool. Yeah, I think I followed. Let me check here. I'm trying to remember, and I could be confusing you with somebody. Hey, oh yeah, just lurking. Were you the one that said you were studying or something? Oh, I've got to get some reading done. Yeah, so yeah. Oh, but it looks like it's for pleasure. Adventures of Tom Sawyer. That's a good book. You'll like that. That's a good one. It's been a while since I've read that one, but you'll enjoy. If that's for some kind of a school assignment, then that's a for the win type of deal there.
Yeah, just missed last transmission.
Still hoping for Boston to come online. You can see we're getting to the edge of our airspace here, and I'm surprised that they aren't. Usually they are during these Moncton Mondays, so hopefully, you know, it's almost 9 o'clock their time. I'm hoping they come on. Maybe I'll try to get on the TeamSpeak back channel and see if I can nudge them in the right direction.
That's correct. We're turning the base at Moncton at the flight school. Alpha Charlie Tango.
If you tuned in late, here's our route. It's pretty straightforward. It's actually almost direct west. I know it kind of looks like it's southwest, but with the curvature of the Earth, man, this is really pretty close to direct west, like a 267 heading or something like that. But we're tracking this Yarmouth VOR right now, and fighting a little bit of wind, as you can see, a little bit of turbulence. And then once we get out over the open ocean, I've got a little surprise. An old friend that we're going to bring back and have some fun with that. If you have to read a book, make it a good book. Well, yeah, I mean, a guy can only read so many flight manuals, right? Only so many pages of how to, you know, start up the C-47 and all that good stuff. It's good to shake it up a little bit and keep it fresh. So Nick's Aviation says that we were talking about a first stream for him, and we were talking about how Saturday they have the event there in the virtual event. He mentions that he's actually going to be on his way in real life to Oshkosh that day. So yeah, that beats streaming by a million times. So something that you could do. This would actually be even funner than videoing your stream on P3D or X-Plane. Is Twitch has the ability, gives you the ability to stream via your mobile device, so you could actually be there at Oshkosh streaming some little vlogs and stuff like that, and it'll show up on your Twitch channel. So that would be pretty cool also. And that's something I haven't done, but I think you do have that ability to do. So like I say, I've got notifications set for your channel, and I'll be looking forward to seeing some updates. I'm going to be offline for a little while, and so I'll be ready for some new content from all my Twitch friends and YouTube friends. It'll be a lot of fun to catch up with everybody after this week.
Okay, 674, you are. Okay, 674, you are cleared to Liverpool for your next track at Tango, Mach 78, flight level 370. And crossing Jupi at.
Wolfpack Gamer says, not a streamer. Don't have to, or he watches his different streams on his mobile device. Yeah, and that's the fun thing about technology right now, isn't it? I mean, you in the palm of your hand, you have some just amazing things, amazing access to content. It's incredible. So yeah, you're not a streamer, no big deal. It's it's just something that adds a different element for me as far as the experience of simming, and for the most part just kind of an educational thing, and go back. I'm an old coach. I like to watch film. I like to go back and see what I did, what I did wrong and what I did right, and hopefully it makes it that much better the next time. But yeah, if you're up and about on the Fat Sim Network one of these days and want to tag along, shoot, let me know. I do that with Rob quite often, actually. I think I've flown probably, I don't know, 10 of his legs so far with him on his that lower 48 state adventure he's got, and it's tons of fun. I mean, flying with somebody it's just making this experience social. It just adds to it. So appreciate you checking in. Okay, we're closing in on, what do we got? 33 miles
I need your cell identifiers reported
to the Yarmouth VOR. And once we pass the Yarmouth VFR, I'm going to show you the old friend that we're bringing back. The old friend from the D-Day trip. So you might know what I'm talking about.
Okay, 674, cell phone check with Charlie, X-ray, Alpha.
Oh, so Wolfpack Gamer 13 gonna be 14. Hey, so yeah, you're kind of at that prime age, man, where there's lots of good stuff happening. I see a lot of guys your age that are doing some super creative stuff, and I don't know what you have to be, what the age limit is on Twitch. I'll be honest with you, but there's a lot of simmers out there. It's really cool to see, honestly, because it's just neat to see the next generation so interested in aviation, and I mean, you guys are going to be the pilots of the future, and I think that
Do not
Flight
have
Sim
field
has
insight at this
played
time
a
for the
huge
775.
role in developing not only the interest in aviation, but a lot of the skills.
Okay, you
I
are
think the
cleared
things that
to
you
the
guys
Moncton Airport Group
are going to
from
come to
29. You do have a system
when you
172 departure should be
go
on
to
the
pick up your
left downwind there.
PPL. I think you're going to be so far ahead of of the game. In my day, and again, I preface this by saying I don't have a license, and I didn't really go down that track, but I didn't have. I was starting from scratch, and so all my knowledge would have been from reading books, and we did have. I can remember at my grandpa's airport that they had an actual sit down, like a Cessna 152, I think, simulator, and I had some hours on that. But I mean, that was there was no video screen. You were just watching the instruments, and that was it. So you guys really have access to. I mean, some of the home sims that guys have are more extensive than some of the sims that many aviation companies use to train their pilots. Wolfpack Gamer is he's X-Plane 10 mobile and doesn't have a PC. Well, hey, it's time to mow some lawns and start saving some cash, man. Won't take you long.
Continue on the downwind. You should have a Beechcraft 58 that's coming in 4,400. Report the traffic site there.
Yep, Nick's Aviation is another X-Plane guy. X-Plane 11. Yeah, very cool looking sim. I've got it. I've got the demo right now. 10 mobile is awesome though, yeah. And though they're about to make it global, sweet. That is awesome. I haven't messed around a ton with X-Plane just because it took me a long time to get. I just moved from an old machine to a little bit more updated one, little newer, a little more powerful, and it has taken me all summer to get everything reinstalled and reconfigured and all that, and I just don't know if I'm ready to go through that again right now with X-Plane, because I know that there's going to be the same type of configuration issues that you're going to have to go through. Plus, it all costs money, and I know X-Plane 11 offers a ton of stuff for free, but there are still some things that I would want to have, that I know I would want to purchase, things like Active Sky and things, and some Orbix scenery. So the Wolfpack Gamer's talking about X-Plane 10 mobile and how they're able to do long haul flights from LA to London. That's pretty dang cool in a 7.4. That's pretty awesome. I'm assuming you have to plug your phone in while you're doing that. Does it eat your battery up pretty well?
Uniform, Whiskey to say you will have your Beechcraft 58 there passing at your 9 o'clock. You can follow the traffic in for runway 29. Roger that, number 2 for runway 29 or Foxtrot Uniform Whiskey Lima.
But that's a great use of your battery, honestly. Just don't do it while you're in class, okay? I'm a principal at a middle school. Don't do it while you're in class.
Charlie Q, Echo.
All right, 20 miles. One last look outside here for a bit, and then I'm going to show you this. Show you what's going to help us on our over the ocean leg of this trip.
Enter final for Roman 29. You do have the Cessna 176 at your 12 o'clock, number 3.
We look for the traffic and we will enter Pattern 9. This is a plane, we're doing some training here. We're not using any GPS or mapping system, so at the moment we do not have a field of sight and not quite sure where it is. Alpha Charlie Kilo Tango.
Using Moncton Center, Canadian Express 219er, with you flight level 330.
Alright, Wolfpack. Thanks for stopping in. Go get some reading done, man. Nix, I'm going to pretend I didn't see that. Wolfpack Gamer brings up the point of liveries. And my question, I guess, is when it comes to airlines, is there a more iconic livery than that Southwest? I mean, it's got to be right there at the top of just whether you love it or you hate it. You know, you know what it is from a mile away. Orlando to SBGR. Where is that? Without looking. Somewhere in South America? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Call November 715 up to Moncton, a taxi aim to discretion. And break, Foxtrot uniform, Whiskey Lima, wind in Moncton 3207, clear to land Romeo tonight. Land 29, Foxtrot uniform, Whiskey
Yeah, Sao Paulo, I'd have never got that without looking it up.
Kilo Tango, that's still safe?
Well, unfortunately, still no Boston. Trying to raise them on the Discord channel here, and I'm not having much luck.
When we see it, we're allowed to turn right for a left base runway 29, Alpha cut Charlie Kilo Tango.
Airborne had a No, 072, you are rated identified on departure, sir, altitude checks. So you can continue direct Agner course up to flight level 40.
Those guys work hard, though. They put in a lot of time, so I wouldn't blame them a bit if they took a night off. Two favorite, are those Wolfpack is saying two favorite ones are the Illinois and the Southwest Heart. So is the Illinois also a Southwest livery, or is there, you talking about a different aircraft company altogether? Because I don't know if I've seen that one. That Southwest Heart one is really cool, though. Ten miles. So here's the plan. Okay, so what I'm asking is, you mentioned your two favorite liveries are the Illinois one and the Southwest Heart. So is the Illinois one, is that a completely different airline company, or is that a version of Southwest Airline, like a particular livery of Southwest Airline, like their Heart livery is? Here's the plan of attack while he answers that question, by the way. We're going to be flying past Yarmouth, and we're going to track Yarmouth outbound to Baxi. Now, Baxi is just an intersection, so it's nothing we can track necessarily with our Slant Alpha equipment, but we can track Yarmouth all the way out. Hopefully, we'll be able to stay fairly well on course. But the other thing that we're going to be able to do, and I'm a little surprised that the NDB didn't come alive, because there's an NDB there at Yarmouth as well, 206. But yeah, that sucker. Oh, I didn't have it turned on. I don't need to listen to the ident, but okay, there we go. So yeah, we're a little bit. That guy did come alive. That was just going to be one more way that we made sure we stayed on course. The VOR is by the way, just a little bit kind of north of, I think, of the NDB. Yeah, so the NDB is sitting out here, so it's not surprising that we're a little bit off as far as this arrow pointing, just a hair south, but we're right on the money as far as the inbound 259er radial into Yarmouth.
Moncton Center, good evening, St. Pierre 637, Northeast flight level 340, direct orbit.
So Wolfpack Gamer says they are both southwest. I'm gonna have to check it out. I don't know that I've seen the Illinois one. As soon as I get past this and get kind of going on the outbound, I'll go check that out. But
St. Pierre 637, we're with you, flight level
first things first,
direct orbit.
we are going to bring back an old tool from the D-Day crossings day, one we found as we were doing our old school navigation. And what we're seeing, let me pull over, pull Sky Vector over. So when we leave Yarmouth to head to our first, to head to Baxby, basically, we're going to be heading out there at 267 for 80 nautical miles. Okay, so 267. We have a way that we can track that, and it's you guys have seen this, you remember it. It's the old E6B drift calculator. So what I've done is I've put that course in from Sky Vector. 267 is the desired course. Right now our airspeed is about 135. Our wind direction, as I'm looking, is roughly, now it's saying about 323 at 23, and what it's telling us is we need to head out of here at 275 in order to track that heading. So we're going to pull that up here. We're going to go 275, and it's just about time. We're almost, we're going to wait till this flips from 2 to nothing. There you go. Okay, we're going to hit heading, and that's going to turn us a little to the right and start us heading out towards Bixby. Now in the meantime, this needs to be, the outbound now is 267. So we're going to change that. There's 260. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've turned just a hair late. We're left, of course, slightly. But what we're going to do is we've got a timer set on our flight yoke, and about every 10 minutes or so we're going to check and see if this information changes. Right now, again, it's telling us if we fly at 275 with the wind hitting us, again, kind of off our right-hand nose, that's going to help us achieve that 267 course. And with any luck, after 80 miles, we will be right where we need to be as far as our intersection goes. So the other thing we have to do, though, is this: if our ground speed is 121, we have to do just a little bit of calculation here to make sure that we're closing in, because we can't guarantee right now. The DME is going to count out for us, but we can't quite guarantee that that's going to be there for the entire 80 nautical miles. And by the way, this isn't, I don't believe this is like an island or something that we can get a visual reference for. So we are truly going to track it outbound for 80, and so just to have, again, redundancy. If I can find my calculator here, we're going to track that. So, and again, let me pull this up so you can see. So the ground speed's 121. Distance equals rate times time. That's all we're using here. And I'm assuming we're going to expect the ILS. So we have 80 nautical miles divided by 121 knots. That's about 0.66 hours. We multiply that times 60 minutes. We're just a little short of 40 minutes for this leg. So, which makes sense, right? Because if it's 120 miles an hour, that means you're going 2 miles for every minute. So, alright. Anyway, we'll keep that in our back pocket. 40 nautical miles. We'll try to keep this guy on track. We will use that drift indicator, which basically all it's doing is just taking a look at wind data. And we're at 7,000 feet, but we're using the data for 6,000, which is going to be fairly close. And so we'll just continue to look at that data for us. And yeah, we found that's fairly accurate. And again, it's a kind of a neat little tool if you wanted to look that up and check that out, just have some fun.
Okay, try to keep it. Thanks for being here. See you again. See you. Express 219.
Kind of got out here into the cloud layer a little bit.
Roger, 1,000 as by discussion, Express 219.
Yeah, Wolfpack Gamer saying I'm still thinking about X-Plane 10. all the long and short haul flights. Yeah, it's convenient. Is that a payware deal then, or is that offered for free? I don't know much about this X-Plane 10 mobile. Outbound 11 miles, and it's been about 4 minutes. Again, we're gonna start to double check our drift calculations here. There's also a cool, if you really wanted to go old school, there's a sextant simulator that you can actually write in or add into the aircraft config file, and it puts it like up here in the corner, and you can shoot suns and stars, and you can actually navigate via sextant. So Wolfpack Gamer is saying right now you only have to pay for the planes. So they give you the platform for free, and then they kind of sucker you in with hey, yeah, I see how it is. Which, you know, I mean, come on. It's a cheap hobby. Until you start buying things like flight yokes and rudder pedals and monitors and things like that. Well, our friend Rob looks like he's well on his way to where is he going?
And
Heading over to Winona and then into Dubuque. He is talking about the wind and all the havoc it's playing on his route right now. It doesn't look like he's doing VFR tonight. He bounces back between VFR, back and forth between VFR and IFR flying, but yeah. So Wolfpack Ganger, that's a nice collection. That's a full hanger right there.
I gave you vectors for Final Fix.
More than I can remember. That's a good problem to have. Alright, things are looking good. We're still tracking outbound fairly close. And then again, the idea here is hopefully, oops, I don't want that. Hopefully we will be able to track this all the way out 80 nautical miles, and then we have to navigate here down to Canal, and this is going to be the unknown for us, because we have, I mean, this is 153, nautical miles between Baxi and Boston. So I don't know. We may have to do some finagling here to stay on track, but that's where the drift calculator is going to really help us out. At some point in time, we'll be close enough to Boston where we'll pick up that VOR, and then we can figure out, you know, where we're at. Even if we drift a little bit, we'll be able to tune that in and find a radial that'll take us directly in. And
Sydney and then back around to Atlanta, so
yeah, I feel like we can get that done.
Okay, 637, I'm just going to give you cruise for the final for 26. Look at your heading of 120.
No luck, unfortunately, with air traffic just yet. In fact, it's actually looking a little bit clearer than last time we've, I think that was Montreal, Ottawa. Yep, so this is kind of where all the action is in Moncton right now. No arrivals up in Goose Bay. Gander has one of each. St. Pierre has one. St. John's has an arrival. A lot of times, Monday nights, you'll see a lot of across the pond traffic because they'll kind of launch here in the evening and fly across the pond overnight. Not so much though right now. But we're just about out of Moncton airspace, and then it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be a lot of engine noise, unfortunately. Yeah, Wolfpack Ganger, I don't know why I want to put you in a gang, Wolfpack. Sorry about that. Wolfpack is saying first world problems and more hours than he can count landing the 737. I'm going to have to check it out. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I mean, the concept looks cool. Manual trim, yeah, sweet. APU, yeah. I mean, and that doesn't surprise me that it has lots and lots of features like that, because you've got to understand that the computer that are located in the phones that you carry around right now they're more powerful than the first computer we had in our high school. I can remember that thing, and yeah, I mean, so it doesn't surprise me that all those things are available. So if you have a subscription to X-Plane 10, does it give you any kind of a break? Oh, geez. 715, go ahead.
715, Boston is on live, radio search terminated. Monitor 122, that's flight. So long, sir.
Okay, over to Unicom for Delta 715. Have a great night. Well, bummer.
637. St. Pierre 637. Maybe give you a little bit of a draw.
Anyway, my question was, before I missed my call there, is does it give you any kind of a break? Like if you at some point in time, say, purchase X-Plane 11, would you get any kind of discount on that?
St. Pierre 637. My apologies on that, sir. Moncton 772, listen to lower. 072. Okay, 5 subscribers and 10,000 street arrival. We'll give you a hot box on him right here in one minute. And 072, your house call center 287. So check the equipment. We're just sending now for 115. On the 072. November 0905 X-ray Sierra, Moncton Center. There, another 0. November 0905 Sierra, your house, your St. John's house number 2980. Can I give you from the 16 from the St. John's? Or from the 29. I'm just looking at the 29 might be more appropriate there, given it's CAT 2 or other.
We'll talk on the next. We'll go from there if it doesn't work. Have we direct that makes sense,
Alright, I got to messing around here and missed my 10-minute check-in time, so let's recalculate our drift information.
I only have an ILS for 11 and 29.
So right now,
I'm sorry. I do have an ILS for me.
our weather info, we still want to be on that 267 course. Our airspeed is still 135. Wind direction now 326, and the speed is 21. So we need a 275 heading, which I think is what we have set. Let me move this out of the way and just double check. Yep, 275. So that's going to keep us on track, which that's verified right now with our VOR needle. But for how much longer? Hard telling.
San Pedro 637, I'd like to go 20 for weather.
So Wolfpack Gamer is reporting that you don't get any kind of a discount if you own X-Plane 10, which I think is actually kind of par for the course. Like when I went from, well, no, I got lucky because I jumped in at P3D version 4, but had I went from P3D version 3 to version 4, I would have had to have paid the full price for it. So that doesn't surprise me, but I thought maybe, you know, that they would help you out a little bit. But so you pay for the app, you pay for the plane, but that's it as far as subscription goes. And yeah, which, like I said, that makes sense. I'm gonna go check it out after I'm done with this flight, I think, and just see what it looks like, because there's times when I'm farting around, have nothing to do, like I'm going to be in a hospital waiting room here this week, and I'll be looking for some things to do. So maybe my first real foray into X-Plane will be on the X-Plane 10 mobile app. You never know. It's still picking up, by the way. The ADF there, that's cool. Those are usually a little bit more limited in range, and so it wouldn't surprise me if that thing kind of goes static here in just a little bit. Well, Wolfpack, my wife is actually having a surgical procedure, so yeah, kind of a bummer deal, but it's something that as you get older you have some wear and tear, and so we need to get that taken care of, and so asking for prayers. We've got a long travel to make to get to the hospital, and then of course praying that the surgery goes well, and what we're really worried about is the long trip home after the surgery itself. And so if you're a praying guy, toss one our way here. So the yoke controls are tilts. Yeah, okay, sweet. And then or the side stick if you're flying the 8th. Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm genuinely curious, and I may have a full report on it when we get back. We'll be back later in the week, like on Friday, I think, and hopefully if she's feeling better and resting, I might be able to sneak away and do a little bit of flight simming, and I might be able to give you a quick report on how well that worked for me. Speaking of reporting on things, I got to make sure that we're checking on pressures and temps. Those are all looking good. Fuel is getting down just a little bit. we're using the right and the left main, and but we have still over, we got half a tank in both of the auxiliaries, so plenty of fuel to go, but we got to keep our eye on that. Run those tanks down a little bit, and flip it over to the auxiliaries. Okay, doing well. We're over halfway on this leg, which is good. 80 nautical mile leg into Baxi. Just peeking over at our in-flight entertainment. Looks like Rob Slant Alpha Adventure is getting ready to do his approach into Winona, and I can't track. There are a couple other guys. Captain K-Man is on right now. I like watching his stream as well. He's flying actually from Denver down to Reno. Denver's kind of my stomping grounds here. Turbinator 97.
Yes,
He's going
a split between two
Reagan down to Miami.
For the time being, we'd like to stay on a heading of 285 for our descent in the St. Pierre.
So the Boeing 737-800 is the most realistic one. Wolfpack gamers telling us. Good to know. Good to know. So how much? What am I looking at here? How much is this going to cost me? Because I'm just my wife's having surgery, so now I'm broke. No response. It must be one of those things where if you have to ask, you can't afford it. Just kidding, man. Oh, it might be just the thing I need to pass the time. What I usually do,
and center 627, just adjust that to 280 for weather.
So I usually watch YouTube videos and stuff like that. Do a little bit of reading. Okay, so the A10 Warthog, around $7, probably one of the more expensive ones. Yeah, that might be doable. That might be doable. I'll have to do it before I leave, though, because I don't know what kind of internet connection I'll have and all that good stuff. All right, we're getting 20 minutes out. Speed is still about 135. I'm just running through the numbers again. I'm not going to bring that calculator, the drift calculator, up on screen here. You guys, I think, know the drill. I'll just tell you what the numbers are that I'm seeing. We've got wind directions just about the same. Now it's 328 instead of 326. The speed is 20 instead of 21. And the heading is 274. So that's a slight adjustment, but not bad. We are 50 miles away according to the DME. And we are, according to our calculator, just about halfway, just a hair over halfway. We were thinking it was going to be approximately 40 minutes for this leg. Luckily for us, we do have the VOR DME that's helping us with this data. After we get past Baxi, though, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're going to have that, and I'm not sure if we lose it. We'll keep it until as long as we can. And if we lose it, then we'll just flip it over to Boston, and we'll try to pick it up as soon as possible. But there's going to be, I'm anticipating, just a little bit of time in between where, we're just going to be navigating via this drift calculator. Dead Reckoning. Don't need to have Wi-Fi to play it. Cessna 172 is small. Business jets are free. Sweet. Double sweet. Man, you're selling me on this. Do you work for those guys, Wolfpack? Are you posing as a 14-year-old kid and actually really a salesman for X-Plane? GPS has call outs. Is it the British guy? 50, 40, 30. Love that guy. Well, I think I'm sold, man. I'm actually looking at the App Store right now. X-Plane 10. Let's see what it has here. X-Plane 10 mobile. I'm just going to search for that. Let's see what it comes up with. Oh, Laminar Research. Man, there's a lot of options here. So there is obviously X-Plane. It's a 4.2 star. There's Horizon Flight Sim. That's 3.8 stars. There's Flight Simulator Advanced 3.7.
637 might have something for final information for you.
There's Infinite Flight. That's a 4.3. Ooh, that's even a little bit higher.
Emosa. That's India Mike, Oscar, Sierra, Alpha.
Interesting. Unmatched air traffic control. That might be kind of fun too. FSX 2016 has a mobile app. Huh, that's crazy.
For 2000.
Who knew?
Yeah, that's about 26.
And there's Rotors Early Access, real RFS, Real Flight Sim. Early access might be free. So the X-Plane 10, we're downloading it right now as we speak. We're going to see what happens here. I got a new phone, so I've got room. I'm not going to be able to fly it while I navigate this big bird, because I do need to kind of pay attention and keep track of things. We're still tracking the DME, which is good. $737 Wolfpack is saying about $4 if he remembers correctly. We're going to check it out. Yep. Okay, so there goes the NDB. It's off. It tracked out about 60 miles, which that's pretty good actually for an NDB. Almost downloaded, 99%. It's going to be hard for me to resist. Delta 715, yeah, we're still with you.
Hey, Delta 715, you out of my airspace, sir, not online, monitor 122 display, so long.
Alright, over to Unicom for Delta 715. Yeah, I was trying to leave him on just for the ATC chatter. Darn it, he wants me gone. So be it. 122.80. We will comply. Alright, well, there it is. Start with the 172 Skyhawk. Alright, so this is an example of peer pressure that you are witnessing, because I was not going to start this, but Wolfpack Gamer he's basically bullied me into doing this. So I want everyone to know in the Twitch community that I'm being bullied. Okay, hold device comfortably and tap the screen to begin. Alright, sweet. Oh, there it is. There's the 172. Yeah, I need to turn the volume down because I'm hearing two things at once. The graphics look kind of incredible. Okay, welcome to X-Plane 10. This is a quick tour to show you around. Alright, please forgive the commentary. This has got to be the weirdest stream that we've had so far on the Melvin Leroy channel. Alright, rotate your mobile device left or right to turn the plane in that direction. Okay, we're going to practice. Turn. Okay, yeah. Let's see. We're doing the old Oshkosh wing wag thing. Ah, okay, sweet. Alright, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty dang cool. Kind of want to do a barrel roll in the Skyhawk. I don't think that's probably good though. All right, got that. Let's do something else. Coming up on 30 minutes. I may have to pause my. Can you pause? How do you pause the X-Plane game once you're playing it? Uh-oh. This could be bad. I don't want to. So it spawns you kind of like in a mountain range, so you can't just like let it fly. Okay, I'm gonna put it down here because I do need to calculate my. Luckily, we're still picking that up. We got 10 miles to go, and yeah, I don't know how to pause it. Oh, geez, I think I just closed it. Oh, crap. All right, we'll come back to it. See, this is why you shouldn't try to do two things at once. Only one sim at a time. Okay. Once again, drift calculation time. We are still sitting at about 135, which is good. And our wind direction is now 330 instead of 328. Our wind speed is 19er instead of 20, so fairly close, but a little bit less. And it's saying continue on that 274 heading, which is what we had already entered in. So we're, in other words, we're tracking very well. This is how what it should look like, and that right there is it's indicating and confirming that we're on the right track here. So since we're getting close to this intersection, though, here's what I'm going to do. Now the leg, you've got to understand the leg from Baxi into Boston is not completely straight, but it's pretty close. It's 264 down to Canal and then 263, and so it's close enough that I think we can do this. But I'm gonna plug in Boston VOR 11270, and I'm gonna put that into nav 2, and let's just see. That way we don't lose what we have, but if it actually is something we can pick up, oh hey, how about that? That's gonna really be helpful. Because what that lets us do, and we're going to wait. We got 4 more miles to go, but what that's going to let us do is just actually track straight in to Boston. So that's going to be slick. We'll put that at 263. We'll do the same thing here in just a second, in about 2 miles. And since we don't have any ATC to tell us any differently, we are just going to have to look at our weather. And I did fly in here earlier today, and they were using runway 27. It looks like we've got an Air France 777 that's coming in. It looks like that's kind of what he's tracking right now, is runway 27. So 78. Yeah, the old radio navigation worked pretty well today. I'm happy about that. I'll put a link to, by the way, I'll put a link to that E6B drift calculator when I finish up and do the little bit of editing that I have to do at the end here. And it's fun to mess around with, completely free. And there's actually a mobile app as well, and so something for you to enjoy if you like this type of flying. And it works really for any aircraft. It doesn't, I mean, actually what I found is the slower the better, because you have time to kind of make those adjustments. Alright, there is 80, so let's move this to 112.70. That's going to come alive, and again we want 263, so there's 260, 1, 2, 3. We're fairly well on it, and we can actually just engage the autopilot, and that'll just take care of business as we need. Okay, let's get back to the chat here. Sweet, he's reached out to us on Discord, which is awesome. If you guys, if you want to chat a little bit on Discord, I'm new to Discord, but I am learning. I do have my information down there, and let's go over. And we're always happy to pick up a new friend on Discord. So let's see if I know how to do this. Come up here. There we go. Pending. All right, man. Welcome to the Discord channel, Wolfpack. Be good to visit with you, and appreciate the heads up on this game. I can't wait to mess around with it a little bit more. I actually closed out of it. I don't know if it'll make me completely restart. Nope, I'm good. I'm back. Okay, so I'm back in the 172, and I'm just kind of flying around. I'm looking at some scenery that just looks out of this world. The detail level. Wow. Really cool. Alright, so how much longer, let's see, do I have to do the tutorial on turning? Because I think I've got pitch figured out. Roll pitch. Well, no, I don't have pitch. I have roll figured out because it's not letting me pitch. Alright. Oh, so there's all kinds of like little click spots on here too. Sweet. You've got the, oh yeah, buddy. So like almost everything here is, oh, that's cool. Alright, Wolfpack is gonna send us one of his night landings here in the Qantas 7-3, which is good because we're in the soup. We are Soupsville. There we go. That side looks better. Okay, Rob is on the ground, by the way. Like I mentioned before, he's kind of our in-flight entertainment. As we make our way across the Atlantic into Boston. Just past waypoint Baxi, and can probably start thinking a little bit. We just passed Baxi up here. We still have over 100 nautical miles, so you know, a good half hour or so but wouldn't be bad for us to start to get a rough idea of what we need to do as far as approach course and runway and things like that. So let's have a peek at the Boston area ATIS. I'm seeing 320 at Niner, so that is a little different. That would still be, man, I don't know if that would be runway 27 or if they would switch that around to runway 4 right, 4 left. I know they like to use 4 right, 4 left if they can, just because helps with traffic flow. We're going to take a peek here. We're going to kind of get some insider information. Check out FlightAware, and let's go browse Boston and see what's happening. There's a million ways to do this. I just kind of am familiar with FlightAware, so let's see how they're landing right here. Yeah, well, looks like they're landing 27 and departing on Niner. Okay, well, that's what we'll plan then. So for us, what that means is let's close the Halifax charts. Let's open, or let's actually just take a look at the arrivals. We have the following that we could choose from. We're coming in here, and I think the Ocean is the one that makes the most sense. We've got the Norwich, which comes up and around. Gander and J-Fund and the Wounds are all kind of to the west of the airfield. So I think if we wanted to take an approach, or excuse me, an arrival, we could pick the Ocean 5. Now the question is this: is it an RNAV arrival? If it's an RNAV arrival, it is an RNAV arrival. So we can't take that because we don't have the ability, we don't have the equipment to fly an RNAV arrival. So what that means then, what that would mean if we had air traffic, is we would be receiving some vectors here, probably around Canal, as far as altitude and course if we needed to. For us, I think we just need to communicate via Unicom and make sure that we are out of the way from everybody. I'm seeing that Air France that we initially were tracking, looks like maybe he did a go around or something here. He was coming in on runway 27 just a minute ago, and now he's kind of heading southwest. We do have UPS 55, not sure where he's going or coming from. He must just came online somewhere there. But that's really the only traffic that we have to speak of right now. Any of these guys down here, nope, they're not going to be a factor, and these guys are going away obviously. So yeah, it's just us. We probably can, for the most part, make straight in, which will be kind of nice. Not going to complain. Alright, so I'm going to check things out. So Wolfpack Gamer sent me a landing. Whoa. That, holy cow. I can't believe how smooth that is. Oh yeah, a little bit of landing gear, like a little bit of, not the stiff landing gear, but it shows kind of the shock. And oh, that's okay, dude. Thank you for the tip. I can tell that that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, no bounce. Yeah, I just flew a route. Actually, the route I flew up into Boston was for JetBlue Virtual, and I bounced it. I don't think they're going to probably accept my ACARS data, unfortunately, but yeah, that was pretty cool. 10 out of 10 centerline, 10 out of 10 smoothness, 10 out of 10 flare. Yeah, that's cool. And it looked like you hit the landing zone. I mean, it didn't look like, you know, sometimes those guys that have those super smooth landings, they float halfway down the runway. It looked like you put it down right where you were supposed to. That's awesome. When I spawn on final, it spawns me with 4 white. Yeah. Then that's tough to get back on the glide slope. Tough to make it work when you do that. All right, so we are continuing to just monitor, and we're expecting the winds right now 320 at 9 Boston. By the way, visibility wise, not bad. We've got 10 statute miles of visibility with a few clouds of 5,500. Everything else is above us. No precip to speak of. Looking at the weather map, also looks good. We did have a little bit of choppiness kind of right outside of Halifax, but after that, after we kind of got out over the open ocean, things settled down quite a bit. Oh man, look now, I didn't realize this, but we pretty much closed down Moncton Monday. Yeah, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here type of deal. I mean, it's totally shut down. Wow. Okay, well, so be it. That's the way she goes sometimes. And we're happy still to be up flying. Speaking of being up flying, yep, time to kind of look at our fuel here, and you know, I think we're probably down there close enough. We don't have to push it real bad. So we're going to change to left auxiliary, and this other one's a little tougher to see. May not be able to get to it from here. I might have to, yeah, let's come over here. Right auxiliary. There we go. I need to set up a camera view so I can make sure. Let me just make sure. We're on right aux. Yep, we're on right aux. Alright, good deal, because with left and right aux we have a lot, half a tank here, close to 100 gallons each, so that'll be plenty to get us into Boston, and yeah, no worries, and even a little extra just in case we have to divert. We're kind of a long way from anywhere right now. This would not be a good time to have any sort of engine issue. We could not, honestly, I think Boston's probably about as close as it comes. There may be some islands a little further to the north if we wanted to head that way, but yeah, we're 100 miles away from everything basically right now. Wolfpack Gamer says when you spawn too high and you try to make the correction, all you hear is the pull up, sink rate. Yeah, do you get the terrain? I'm familiar with those calls. One of the planes that I was thinking about getting, I don't know if it, well, anyway, it has like you hear the sounds of the passengers in the back, and like if you turn too sharply or you have some turbulence, or you'll actually hear the passengers in the back like screaming and stuff. And then if you have a good landing, they'll clap. And I'm trying to remember which one that was. Might have been the PMDG DC-6. I thought that was like, okay, maybe that's going a little too far. The flight attendant will come on and put the pressure on you and say stuff like, well, we got some VIPs on board today, we better make it an extra smooth flight, stuff like that. I don't know. No passengers in the X-Plane 10, and you can just assume that it's a full flight. Alright, things are looking good, I think. It's been a good flight so far. Plane's working well, navigation's working well. We've had a lot of good company here. I would have flown the 7.3 like a fighter pilot to hear the screams. I think that 737 can, at least the more modern ones, it looks like it can handle pretty well. I mean, some of the advertising that they were doing for the 737 MAX, I mean, they were showing almost a vertical takeoff, and I think those things are pretty maneuverable. I don't think they're necessarily meant to be flown that way, but I think if you had to, you could. I don't know when you'd ever have to, but always good to have more capability, I guess, in your back pocket than you need, as far as that goes. But wouldn't be long before they lost consciousness. Yeah, I think if you pulled, what, 5 or 6 G's, that's kind of when people start blacking out. They don't have those fighter pilot flight suits on or whatever, that where they can compress the blood in the legs, and yeah, it's just, those guys are insane. Super talented, but man, I tell you what, some of the things they do, it's pretty crazy. I don't think the average person doesn't realize when they're watching like an air show, you know, and they're seeing them do all the different maneuvers that they do. I don't think they realize that what that does to the human body, and just how, you know, how hard it is to, like you say, just to keep consciousness, you know. Ooh, so there's a multiplayer on X-Plane 10 as well. Nice. So like a shared cockpit type of thing, is that what you mean? Or like having multiple planes in the same, you know, same area? Alright, that's still pretty cool. I have yet to do, I did a shared cockpit way back when I first started simming. Well, not when I first started, but when I kind of got back into it, I pulled up or loaded up FSX, and I did a shared cockpit in a 737 actually, and that was a lot of fun. I haven't got back to it yet. I think it would be fun to do one of those, and at some point in time, I think that, I'm going to try to figure out how to do that. I'm not exactly sure how in P3D you do that, or if you're even able to. But there's plenty of stuff, like even on a plane like this, there's plenty of stuff that the first officer could be doing to help things out. You know, monitoring the fuel is just one example. And honestly, you know, in these planes there was a radio guy back there. He probably would be helping out, you know, making sure you had all the correct settings for your VORs and things like that, and he would have been the one doing the you know, doing that drift calculation work as well. So Wolfpack Gamer saying you can set it to have failures, wind speed, time change. Yeah, that's pretty. It's a pretty in-depth looking little sim here. I'm definitely going to have to bring my either my extra long charging cord or my extra battery pack. I can tell that'll be good. It'll be a good way to pass the time. So thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's a little thing that you may not even know, but that's going to make a huge difference. All right, inbounds. We're just about that 100 nautical mile mark. So looking at just a little over, what would that be, about 40 minutes? Time to do some real world math. Speed's about what are we going to say, about 133. So about 3/4 of an hour, 0.75. So yeah, 45-ish minutes or so, and we will be on the ground at Boston Logan. So I would say here within about the next probably 20 minutes, we'll just take one last peek at the weather and start to enter our data for our approach. And we'll go ahead and we'll try to shoot, even though the weather is showing that it's very much a visual approach type of day. We will enter information in and attempt to fly the ILS just to practice the procedure and stay as current as we can on that. Yeah, the 737 is my favorite jet. I have got a couple of others on P3D that I do like. I've been flying the E190 and the E170 a little bit, and those are pretty nice little planes from field there. And then I actually, at the beginning of the summer, I picked up the Douglas DC-8. I was looking for a 4-engine plane, and again, I kind of like the older style planes, and so I've really enjoyed flying that one as well. But I always come back to that 737. It was the first plane when I was a kid. It was the first plane I ever flew on, and so it's just kind of, I think it's probably always going to be the top of the list. And I mean, I think, you know, there's a lot of them out there that are awesome. The 747 obviously is one that's just sort of iconic, and you know, doesn't get much better than that. The Queen of the Skies, and some of the newer ones too. You know, the 777, 757. You know, those ones are good as well. And my problem is I don't do a lot of long haul stuff, and so as much as I think like the 777 or some of those bigger Airbuses, you know, they look really cool on this game, but it's hard to justify getting a plane that big when all you're doing is flying from, you know, Denver to Las Vegas or something like that. You know, these 2-hour flights, you barely get going in one of those planes, and it's time to head back down. So if I had a little more time and was a little bit more of a long haul guy, then I definitely think one of those would be in my hangar. But for now, definitely a fan of the 737, and big fan of GA stuff. Have a lot of propeller driven airplanes. Really, my overall favorite airplane right now is the Beechcraft Duke 60. It's just a twin turbine and pretty versatile plane, a lot of fun to fly. I've put the Flight 1 GTN 750 in it, and so, you know, you can fly VFR stuff, you can fly Slant Alpha stuff, or you can plug in a full-on RNAV IFR flight plan and fly Slant Golf. It's a blast. I really like that plane. Let's see what else I picked up recently. Plane I love to hate really is the 182 Skylane. It's a super hard plane, simple plane in so many ways, and very good as far as, you know, trying to make a pilot out of you. But just really, I think just the realism of it is what gets me, because then I get myself into trouble, especially on the landings. And it's one that really pushes you. But I do like that plane, there's no doubt about it. I've had it. It was one of the first planes I got when I moved over to P3D, and so that was, I thought, a really good choice. 8A makes just fantastic stuff, and I know that's also something in the X-plane world. Is there's really good Cessna 172s and 182s out there, and it's very important, I think, to come back to those planes regularly, just like I try to come back to this plane, but to just to kind of reinforce the fundamentals and make sure that you're doing all those things correctly, and it stays fresh in your mind, because it really does help you with every other airplane that you get. So Wolfpack Gamer is saying that there's a good 777 on the X-Plane 10 Mobile, just not quite as interactive as the 737, but almost as good. Yeah, what I was noticing just in my messing around with it for 5 minutes here is, like, there's all kinds of click spots on the panel. So you'd hold your thumb down on the screen, and like all these little click spots would light up. So I'm really interested to see. It almost looks like you could set like an autopilot or something in that 172 and mess around with that. Wolfpack does not like the tail draggers. Yeah, you know, and I only have one, so I can't really say. I've got the de Havilland DHC2 Beaver, and honestly, I really like it. You know, but there's some others out there that are, you know, maybe not so well. And I think maybe the big thing in prepared is that they're not really well represented. Like, there's a default Piper Cub, but it's really not that great. I mean, it's not. It doesn't really, the the plane itself isn't really that well modeled, I don't think, and then the flying characteristics, yeah, I don't know, but I do. The reason why I do like tail draggers is I do like the backcountry flying. I like the grass strips, I like the mountain strips, and you know, I like landing on gravel bars and stuff like that. So that's where, to me, that's where those get pretty fun. But there's not a lot of them that are out there right now that are very good quality, at least for P3D. Now I know that there is I think there's a Carbon Cub that's being developed by is it Aeroplane Heaven, and then Carenado has a Cessna, like a 170 out there that's pretty good, but the rest of them are kind of iffy, and you know, it's there's only so much money a guy has, and he can't just go wasting it on a plane that he hopes is good, and it's just too bad that, like, there's a mall that's default on P3D, and that's a really cool, you know, plane, but in real life, but it just doesn't quite. I mean, the flight characteristics on P3D just aren't very good, and but the stall stuff is interesting to me, and I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. But I'm always on the lookout for a good bush plane, and yeah, I think that's an I've said it many times. I think that's an under-tapped potential in flight simming in general. I think that's where the new sim, they've got Dead Stick. I think that's where Dead Stick is going to really have a niche, and I think it's going to do very, very well. I'm looking forward to checking it out myself, just because there's really the aircraft aren't modeled, and the scenery for sure isn't modeled. You know, thankfully Orbix has come out and done a lot of work along those lines, but if it wasn't for them, man, there would hardly be any grass and gravel strips out there. It'd all be international airports. So yeah, anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get on a tangent there, but let's see here. Let's see. Our weather has not changed a whole heck of a lot. Still 320 at Niner. We've got 3000, so high pressure, which would indicate that things are clearing up just a little bit, and you know, this has all stayed pretty much the same. 10 statute miles of viz, a few clouds at 5,500. Everything else is up above us. So yeah, I think we're going to stick with the ILS 27 approach, and so 72 miles, or maybe a hair early, but it's never too early to just kind of get a feel for things here. Let's go ahead, we'll open up the charts, and we're going to just go straight to approaches, and we're going to just overlay the ILS 27 and get a sense of where we need to be. Now we're only at 7,000 feet, so we really can hold off our descent right really until, you know, the last little bit here. We have Clane, that is our initial approach fix at 4,000. Then we're down to 3,000 for Loner. We need to be 1,700 for Ripet, and that's our final approach fix. And then we're on down. If we need a missed approach, we're going to climb to 3,000. We're going to track outbound on the Boston VOR on that 267 radial to the Bosox intersection. You can kind of see that modeled right there, or diagrammed right there. And we'll enter a little teardrop entry there, and we'll hold at Bosox until we are vectored by ATC. Since we don't have ATC, what we would probably do is climb 268 up to 3000, enter. Yeah, we would probably enter left traffic and come back around and try it again. I guess we'd have to kind of see what the... Yeah, because we have departing traffic on runway 9, so we wouldn't want to enter a right traffic. We would probably be vectored by ATC around to the south of the airport for a second attempt. So yeah, just to keep that in mind, our frequency is 111.3. Our approach course is 272. We're going to keep that over here on the other screen, keep it handy, and when it's time for us to put all that stuff in down here, we will do so. 66 miles away, everything progressing nicely. A quick check of temps and pressures, those are all looking good. Fuel looks good. Right and left auxiliary is the same, which is always good. Those are looking good. Honestly, I probably could have had the cowls closed, and our temperatures are stable. Yeah, I think all things considered, it's been a very good flight. Minus the ATC. If we would have had ATC, it would have been almost a perfect night. Do I recommend any aviation podcasts? Yeah, I do actually. I'm kind of a big fan of Flight Chops. He, I think, has probably, for what I like, the best podcast on YouTube. I'm talking YouTube now. I'll talk Twitch here in just a little bit, but Flight Chops is awesome. Steve-O-One Knievo is another one on YouTube that's really good. Aviation 101 has a really good YouTube channel, and those guys they just come out with about once a week. They don't go crazy, but everything they do is top notch. I don't know if you've seen Trent Palmer. If you watch Trent Palmer, he may get you hooked on tail dragging flying, because that's what he does. He's got a kit fox that he's built, and he goes around and does some awesome stuff with that plane, man. He can make that plane sing, I tell you what. So yeah, those are kind of the ones. Of course, you've got Air Clips and those guys are stuff like that as well. Q8 Pilot is good as well. Just Planes, and I got more than I thought I did here. The guys that I like on Twitch, I mentioned a few of them. The Slant Alpha Adventures is where I would start. The guy is just an encyclopedia of knowledge. I do like Captain K-Man. Turbinator 97 is another one that's good. There's a bunch of them, really, truly. And there's some bigger ones also, like Aviation Pro and Matt Davies and Chewy and those guys as well, and they're pretty entertaining. But sometimes those guys are just almost a little bit too big. These guys like Rob from Slant Alpha, man, he'll work with you. He's taught me a lot, and so but he's about to break out, I think, and become pretty big, just because of his skill and knowledge. He also controls, and so he knows aviation from both sides, and he's got all the experience and knowledge of a pilot without the license, basically. And so and he's just kind of self-taught dude that doesn't mind sharing. So that's really what's cool about him anyway, I think. But a lot of those guys that I mentioned are the same way. You shoot them a question. Mustafa is another guy that I like. You shoot them a question and they're happy to respond to you and help out, because I think that they've all been there. They've all been on the beginning side of flight sim, and where you have a lot of questions and you're not sure where to start and how to do things, and all you have is just kind of a love of things and an interest, and you're just willing to learn. So all those guys are good. I got a call coming in. Hang on a sec. Alright, sorry about that. Had to take a call on the other line. Uh-oh, Wolfpack Gamer is sharing something here. What's he got? 10,000 3D airports coming to X-Plane Mobile. Ooh, baby. Look at that. Nice. Atlanta Hartsfield. Let's see, what else do we got here? X-Plane Mobile has 35,659 airports. 10,257 have 3D scenery. Oh, and then they pitch you on X-Plane 11 down there. All right, well, cool. Let's see. What's the scenery gateway say? Oh, you can actually be a developer. Yeah, and that's actually one of the things about X-Plane that intrigues me is their developer tools, to me, seem much more user-friendly, I guess, because that's something I have an interest in, is actually creating some scenery. But when I've researched what it takes to make scenery for P3D, it's quite a process, and I think it is in X-Plane as well. I mean, I've some of the guys I follow on Twitch, that's what I think. One of them, Captain K-Man, I think actually when he's not flying, he's actually working on an airport right now, and like he spent 2 weeks just building a single hangar, and it looks great. But I mean, it's in depth. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to model some more of those off airport strips, some of those places like Johnson's Creek in the Idaho mountains, where there's really not a lot of buildings and things like that. You just need a good looking grass or a gravel strip that doesn't look like the default, because all those airfields are out there, but they just all look like those rectangular generic fields, and they just don't look very good, I don't think. So I would think that a guy could make one of those grass strips, those off airport strips. It wouldn't take a whole heck of a lot of work comparatively, like if you're developing an international airport and you're having to put in 6 runways and 5 concourses and all that stuff, to put in one grass airstrip, I would think would be much more realistic, especially for someone like me who's brand new to the entire process. So when I do fire up X-Plane eventually, at some point, I know I will at some point, That's, I think, what I'm most looking forward to, is being able to start to dip my toe into the scenery development a little bit. All right, land ho, by the way. We have... All right, Wolfpack is going to go clean up. Thank you. About time, man. Crying out loud. No. We'll see if we can't get a little closer. We still have 43 miles. You got plenty of time. We can, here pretty soon though, we can actually come off of the VOR and just go to heading mode, and then we can enter in our localizer frequency and our heading for that. But we'll stay on the VOR for now, just because it's, like I say, we've got 40 miles. We have plenty of time. Plenty of time. Back over to my in-flight entertainment. I should have had him on a little bit here as he's flying. Looks like he's loading up his information himself for an approach into Dubuque. Very cool, very cool. Let's have a quick listen.
Let's just do the Dubuque vortex. We're already tuned to that, and we don't have to keep flipping the radios around. So that means we are going to come into the radio, come into the, what are we coming in on? Coming in on a 344, which is a 164. We can kind of vector ourselves over. That wouldn't be the strictly proper way to do it. So I think what we'll do is we'll just come straight into the VOR. We're going to have to make a nice early turn. Wait a minute, let's look at the line. Just to the VOR. Oops. We're going to come straight in the VOR on a 1.6 on the rudder. We're going to make this really tight turn outbound. And then we're going to do this procedure turn. Turn back in. And then avoid this. And come back in that way. So this is going to be a really difficult turn as we hit the VOR. But,
Well, that's kind of what you get over there. Again, great guy, a lot of info. Nick's Aviation is back. Hey, just in time, man. We're 37 miles out. Just about ready to plug in our frequencies. We're gonna shoot the ILS approach into Logan. Weather's looking pretty promising right now, honestly. 320 at Niner, 10 statute miles of viz. We got a few clouds at 5,500. No precip. So we're gonna come in on the 27, and even though it's a visual approach kind of day, we are going to practice that ILS approach while you've been gone. By the way, Wolfpack Gamer has successfully bullied me into downloading X-Plane 10 Mobile, and I even fired it up a little bit and just about crashed the 172 into the side of the mountain. So looking forward to messing around some more with that. It actually does look really cool, as you can see if you scroll back through the chat messages. He was kind of filling me in on the mini features, you know, and it's impressive, the list, and it's going to be a lot of fun to mess around with. There's no doubt about that. But before we can do that, we've got to get ourselves on the ground here at Boston. And I think what we'll do is at 20, DME, we're going to flip over to heading mode, and then we're going to put our frequencies in. We are looking at localizer frequency of 111.30, approach course of 272, and yeah, airport elevation's 19 feet, so decision altitude's going to be a 219er, right? Actually, no, the ILS, we're going to be coming in at about 120, so yeah, we'll be actually our decision. Oh, that's descent angle. Sorry. Decision altitude 460 for us, and then the missed approach is 268 out here to Bosox and hold at 3,000. What we've decided, since there is no ATC, is what we will climb out 268 and make left traffic and come back around for a second approach. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. Catching the New England coastline here, and the sun kind of dropping down low on the horizon. I don't think we'll have runway lights as we come in, which is a shame, because this Fly Tampa Boston scenery has got some great night lighting. The old bird has flown very well. Plenty of fuel left, even if we had to divert. We've got what do we have listed as our Providence is our airport to divert to if we need to. We got plenty of fuel to get there. All of our pressures and temps are looking very good at this point in time. At 20, we're going to go to heading mode and get everything entered in that we need to, and actually start our descent. The initial approach fix is 4,000, so we don't have a lot of altitude to give up here, but we do need to get down just a little bit. And the one thing that you maybe know or maybe don't know about this plane is it is a glider. These big old wings, big old ailerons, it likes to fly, and so if you get a bit high, it can be kind of challenging to try to convince it that it needs to drop altitude. One last peek outside here. That's nice. Hard to beat that view sometimes, isn't it? Alright. Once again, just kind of pulling up all of our information here, and I think we're going to go to heading mode. We are heading 274. That's pretty close to where we're at right now, should be anyway. We need to change our localizer frequency to 111.3. That's coming in nicely, and then our approach course is 272, so we'll make that adjustment as well. 1, 2, and not surprisingly, we are currently right of course, which that's okay. We are going to continue here for a few more miles, and while we do, we're going to go ahead and start our descent down to 5,000. Our initial approach fix Klein is, let's see here, how far out is Klein? 18, 19 DME. So actually we could go ahead and, yeah, we've got our, actually above our glide path right now. So we're going to decrease power a little bit here, and we could try to intercept. We'll turn 240 and see if we can intercept, and we also will increase our descent rate to 1,000 and see if we can't get ourselves back underneath that. Yeah, we started maybe just a hair late. I estimated here, but just a little bit late. We actually are within flap speed, so we could, in fact I will, I'll put a notch of flaps in right now just to make sure that we don't pick up too much speed. And yeah, we're probably just a hair past Klein here. Let's see. Ripid is 5. Loner is another 5. That's 10. Klein is, oh, so actually 14. So 14 DME is our initial approach fix. If we can get to 4,000 by 14 DME, we'll be okay. So it'll be close. It'll be close. We may grab the localizer before we get the, yep, here comes our localizer. So we're going to arm the approach. Got that marine kind of haze layer going, so it's good that we went ahead and programmed the ILS. Alright, we are on the approach. Got a few ships down there. Kind of cool. Probably looks really awesome from the outside. Yeah, that's cool. Have that turned way down. There's our city. Make a nice little photograph there. So we'll put that back on. All right, still above glide slope, and right there we're kind of passing Klein. So we actually need to continue on down. We're going to go ahead and just spin that down to 1700. That's our final approach fix, and back off power a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and bring the mixture up to auto rich. Prop lever can come full forward. We need the fuel pump boost pumps on. We need landing lights on, and tail wheel is locked. Flaps are coming in here a little at a time. Just about have that glide slope. Once that glide slope is captured, then the descent will pretty well take care of itself. In fact, it might be. Now we're down to 500 feet per minute. We might be close enough that the approach is actually, now that I say that, I don't know that we are. Kind of peeking out here, I see what looks like the runway lights. We're going to go flaps a half. We're 10 miles away. We'll get that gear horn. Okay, we'll go gear down. Don't want to get too slow. Bring her in at about 100. That's going to be just fine. Kind of a smoggy type of day here. Almost looks like. Interesting. Yeah, I think we've captured that glide slope because it's just kind of bouncing it between 500 and 1,000. We're definitely on the localizer, and everything looks good so far. Final 10 miles of our cargo flight today. We started in the beautiful city of Halifax, Canada, on the eastern coast, and flew down the coastline here to Boston. Completely fictitious routes. As far as I know, Delta didn't fly this as a cargo route. But we went ahead and made it. We went ahead and made it a route. Alright, gonna open up the cowl flaps. We do have, since we have the prop levers full forward, we're kind of getting a little bit of a high temperature reading there. Let's see if we can cool it off a little bit. It would be a shame to lose an engine and put her down in the ocean so close to home. Alright, things are good. Airspeed is perfect. Plane is crabbing just a little bit, but not terrible. We'll take her down to about 5 DME, and then we'll see if we can't fly the rest of the way in by hand. What's the fun of the whole flight if you can't fly a little bit by hand, right? Alright, close enough. That's off. Put that away. And now it's nobody's fault but my own. I did not announce my intentions to Boston. I should have done that before I took it off of autopilot. Oh well. Too late now. Speed's still hanging in there. We've got a plenty long runway, so I don't think we're going to go less than, or any more than flaps 1/2. I think we're going to be just fine. Getting just a hair high. Pull back on the power slightly. We are going around to the north side of the airport to the cargo area. There we go, back on the glide. Might be just a little right of center, but doing okay. I see a 2.7. Alright, let her glide down here a little bit. Oh, a little bit long, but not bad. Not bad at all. Tail's coming down. That's on the ground. Unlock the tail wheel. We've got our first possible exit here. Kind of in that in between where the rudder controls it a little bit, but the differential braking controls it a little bit. And now we're down below 60, so we're all differential braking from here on out. And welcome to Boston. Bring those flaps up, and we will start our taxi. A little bit of a lengthy taxi from this spot. You're getting some frame rate issues here. Oh boy, we've got some traffic departing. I tell you what, we're going to stop here. We're going to make our intentions known. First things first, let's get a taxi diagram pulled up, and let's make a quick announcement to Boston traffic. Let's see, we are short of runway 4 left, or 4 right. We're going to be crossing here. Honestly, I don't know where that plane was taken off from. That is not the prevailing winds. He was leaving from 22 right or 22 left. That's wild. Okay, we're going to scurry across here, and as we do, we're going to also make an announcement. Type it in advance. We're going to cross 4 left as well. Don't need to go too fast. And we might, I tell you what, I think we may go up on Mike here, because we can get Mike up to Foxtrot and not have to deal with all the traffic on the ramp. Let's do that. Let's try to not go in the grass though first. I cut that corner just a little bit too sharp, didn't I? Alright, so we'll head up here. This is Taxiway Mike. We're looking for Foxtrot, which will take us then across runway 4 right. Sorry, 4 left. 2 right. And then we can just kind of stay on Bravo all the way around the horn to the cargo area. Well, while we do that, let me just kind of wrap up tonight. Yeah, downwind's just jumping on, just ending the flight. Yeah, we were using Slant Alpha's flight as our in-flight entertainment today. It looked like he had some fun there in the Minnesota, Iowa area. But yeah, we're just landing Boston. We're just trying to. The most difficult part of the flight here is taxiing, as you know. But I thought you'd be up camping somewhere at this point in time. Nick's Aviation says the DC-3 has the basic autopilot. Yeah, so what it has is like a single panel that represents all the stuff that you do find. Let me let people know I'm crossing 4 left here real fast. But the autopilot in this bird is it's crazy. So the on-off is down here, and then the adjustments for altitude and heading and all that. It's all around this part of the panel, and in the P3D version of it, none of this stuff is really modeled. And so please don't be taken off. Please don't be taken off. Oh, thank you. So they have included this handy 2D panel. You just hit Shift F4 and it gives you everything that you need. And yeah, it's functional. I mean, it's and you actually you can, if you want to load up a full-blown IFR route, you can use the P3D flight planner, and you can load it up, and you can use the GPS and all that good stuff. I don't really do that, but you do have that ability if you want to. I think it's Shift F6. Yeah, it gives you that basic kind of default. Oh, jeez, I didn't turn on Alpha. Yeah, I did. This is Alpha. Gives you that default GPS, so you have that ability really to be slant golf if you wanted to. It's just a lot more fun, I think, to fly Slant Alpha and mess around with the VORs and DMEs and stuff like that. Yeah, downwind, spent the afternoon in the boat. Oh, heck yeah, buddy. Can't beat that. Kids are having a blast. Nice. Branson, Missouri, Table Rock Lake. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I have spent precious little time this summer on the water, and I am feeling it. My two best fishing buddies have been down with injuries this summer, so luckily my grandson's been here, or I wouldn't have done any fishing at all. But that's cool, man. I'm glad things went well. Glad you're able to check in even though you're still camping. That's cool, man. And so yeah, Nix, this is if you look for the Manfred John or John Visser C-47 or DC-3, you'll find this. This is a completely free airplane, and the latest version of it has a sound pack that is just phenomenal, and so I recommend it. It's one of my favorite. It's my very favorite freeware airplane, and one of my favorite in the hangar in general. I'll be honest, I don't really know where I'm going when it comes to cargo, so we're gonna wing it. I know this is the GA, kind of like the signature area, and I know we don't want that. Seems like there's a cargo area sort of around the way here, isn't there? Yeah, Nix, you're right. It's Aeroworks is the company that basically took this exact plane and ported it over to X-Plane. And they actually, there's things in the X-Plane version. There's functionality in that plane, especially when it comes to the autopilot, that the P3D version doesn't have. So in many regards, the X-Plane version of it is that much better, I'm coming in completely backwards, by the way, of where I should be. But yeah, the X-Plane version is way better. Not way better, but in some cases better than the P3D version. But they're both very similar. They handle the same, they sound the same, and are equally enjoyable. So check it out. It's, like I say, it's worth it, and there's plenty of tutorial videos out there, and even a couple like mine that show you maybe how not to do it. But there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty close, I'd say. Pretty close. Alright, it's been a fun flight. Thanks everybody for checking in. I hope you're doing something fun like downwind. You're out with your family camping or something. Or if not, I hope you're doing something fun, kind of like Wolfpack Gamer, and you're on your mobile device flying somewhere, or maybe you're even in the VATSIM skies somewhere. I don't know, but whatever it is, I hope you're enjoying yourself. Thanks for taking a little bit of time to hang out with me and keep me company on that trip across the open ocean without any ATC. I appreciate it. Probably going to be offline for a little while. Hoping to be back this weekend. And again, keep my wife in your prayers. Keep us in your prayers for safe travels, so that she can have a safe, successful surgery and all that good stuff. But I look forward to seeing you guys later on down the road. Until then, you guys take care, everybody, and God bless.